Welcome, everyone. I'm Spin's Daniel Cohn, and we're here today with Jess Cornelius. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Well, there you go. Well, one of the top big topics we've been discussing this week with artists, which I think you'll do quite well with, is artistic expression. So if we feel like one of the big fundamental points if you're going to be an artist is to be able to express yourself and to have integrity while doing so. So when you're writing music or you're speaking up about something you believe in, why do you feel like it's so important for an artist to do that, especially in this day and age?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of layers to that. I do feel like anyone, artist or not an artist, should always act in line with their values and their principles. You know, I guess it can be difficult for artists when you have a bigger platform than some other people, that you're kind of expected to then be this sort of poster person or a spokesperson for a cause. And sometimes artists want to do that. I think it's been quite difficult with the South by Southwest thing, with the connections with the arms manufacturers, and a lot of artists having issue with that. And I'm one of them, and we dropped out of our official showcase because of that. But at the same time, it puts you in this position where suddenly you're talking politics all the time, and you're having to sort of, really be sort of almost speak on behalf of other people, whereas it can be a really nuanced issue. But because you have a bigger platform, it becomes this thing where like, oh, I didn't actually want to make this about politics or anything like that. I'm just trying to live true to my values, And so I think it can be a really difficult place to walk.
Totally. And we're very big proponents here of free speech. And I'm sure as an artist, that's something that you stand for as well, especially with everything that's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, free speech, as long as it's not hate speech, then
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think not enough people are willing to use their right to free speech to speak out about things or speak in defense of their views? Because it seems like today it kind of is either or with certain artists. Some are afraid to because they're worried about what might happen on social media, versus others are, plant their flag and go full in.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I have a lot of empathy for people in both camps, because I do understand that as an artist, like being an artist in itself, you're already sort of on the back foot in terms of, especially as an independent artist, it's already hard to make money, to sort of take the opportunities that you are looking for. And it's hard to kind of take a stance, especially now with the Gaza situation. I think the people in power have tried to make it intentionally seem more complicated and more polarized than it needs to be. If we're talking about just wanting a ceasefire, wanting an end to the genocide, I don't think that's a particularly controversial position, but I think that there's people in power who are trying to make it more controversial than it is. I don't think it's us versus them or left versus right. It's just a humanity issue. And so I understand that artists are afraid of getting some kind of backlash. And when you're already up against, all the other things that you're up against as an independent artist, I understand that people might not want to sort of speak out. But I do, I really appreciate the ones that are speaking up.
Can you talk about the artists who you were inspired by, who stood up to power and to popular consensus through their music?
I don't know that I have a great answer for that, because I'm inspired by any artist really and that includes actors and politicians, which aren't artists, but anyone who is really just trying to genuinely be caring about people, rather than kind of about pandering to power. I'm inspired by anyone doing that.
As your platform and your audience grows, what are the messages you really want them to take away from your music and your shows?
I mean, like I've said earlier, I don't see myself as being particularly political or having like a message. I understand that life in general in this society is a struggle, and can be a struggle. Some more for other people than some. But I just hope people can relate to it in some way, get something out of it. And if it helps you feel less isolated, less crushed by the society, then I think that's a great thing.
When you're writing your lyrics, like the narrative and the stories, do you find that it's easier to go to a different place or to write from an autobiographical place to express yourself?
I think that's changed a little over the years. I used to really only be able to write from a very autobiographical place, and I have intentionally tried to I still do that to a degree, but I think there's much more of an element of taking things that are not happening to me, but that I am witnessing or imagining or empathizing with, and bringing that into my music. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to tell everyone out here?
Not necessarily, except, as it says on my jacket, it's not political, it's human, and I think we all have to remember that when we're trying to figure out how to express ourselves in this particular situation.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.